this computer. Are you recording? Are you? Okay. Great. All right. So collaboration with Git and GitHub. A big part of this Hack Week is it's not just about teaching you about the PACE data. It's also about helping you onboard to the community, the collaborative community in the earth sciences that is working with this big new earth observation data. And collaborating with Git and GitHub is a really big part of this. Like this work and the development of the tools that you are using this week could never have happened if people have been working alone. They collaborated intensively and they collaborate and share using GitHub. So if you haven't started using it, if you're not able to use it, you're really missing out, and we don't want you to miss out. We're trying to help you move your learning journey along. Okay, so in this lecture, I'm going to do about 30 minutes of the slide deck, and then we will move into getting you practicing some of these skills and then getting you set up with Git in our Jupyter Hub, and you get some practice working with it there. So that's what we'll be doing, kind of time-wise, be about an hour or so, but half of that will be you doing stuff. And I'm going to cover in this lecture some tips for learning and also some practical tips for collaborating during a hack week. And then, like I said, we're going to hop in and you'll practice those skills, and then we'll get you onboarded to using it in the Jupyter Hub. So during this week, and as you're learning to use this tool, you will experience a lot of frustration. I'm just warning you, everyone does. I don't think I've met anyone who has not met a frustration in the learning curve, but you will get over that period. Keep working on it. I'm going to give you some tips to how to get through that, and it will really help your ability to collaborate, particularly with this earth sciences community who's developing all the tools and ways to access data, and they're sharing how they're doing models and analyzing data. So you're going to be able to tap into that community. So some examples of how people use this in practice. Well, what we're doing during this Hack Week is one example. And during a Hack Week, the collaboration and the work as a team, it works so much better if you share your work in progress. So it's not about sharing the polished version of the notebook when everything is working. Not at all. During the Hack Week, things are going fast, and your teammates learn not just from your successes, but also from your struggles. And they learn from your messy scratch pads because they are also working on their messy scratch pads. And so during the Hack Week, we want you to be, as you're editing, you'll be very kind of immediately pushing your work up to the GitHub so your teammates can see what you're working on. They can and learn from you as they're going along. I know this is kind of a different mindset. Usually we're like, oh, I only want to share things when it looks perfect. But think of this more like, when you're, say, collaborating on a Google Doc, right? You're all jumping in there and hacking at it. It's more like that. It's more like that messy collaboration period. Also, when you're sharing things, you're working like rapidly on a project with people. This team awareness is a very key component for teams working well together and working fast. this is actually true for like any kind of collaboration. When you're speeding up the speed of the work, you need to be really aware of what everyone's working on, where they're stuck, where they're not stuck, and sharing the work on GitHub. I'll show you, it has some nice tools so you can kind of see what's happening in the team. So that's one thing, it's a sharing bit. The other thing that it is going to allow us to do is to track task. What are we working on? What do we want to work on? I'm going to show you how to do this with the GitHub tools called Issues. This is a really popular way to do this, but I'm also going to show you some lightweight ways to do that in a hack week. But what's important is that you do outline some task, because otherwise your efforts kind of like you kind of go off in a lot of different directions and you're not able to focus and get finished with something by Friday. It'll also help you if you're feeling like, I don't know what I should be working on, by the group setting out like, hey, these are our tasks. It helps everybody kind of find something that they can contribute to as you're working. But I wanted to mention some other ways that you might not think about how people use it. So a really common thing that people do is like they create these repos that are intended for other people to use. And for example, the website that we are using, let's see, let's go. Ooh. Get over there. Okay, so when we go to this website right here that you see, this is actually a GitHub template. So it's really commonly used across Hack Weeks now. It was developed by a UW team, and it just works really well, and it's really beautiful. It's super easy for us to create Hack Weeks with this format. You'll see this format all over because everyone uses their template. And they had to create it themselves, but when they made it, they didn't just do it for their particular Hack Week. They thought about, oh, we kind of want to make this for our next Hack Week too, so we don't have to repeat the work. And then they thought, wow, we could kind of make it a template. There's a little more work, but not a ton more work. And then people could reuse and rebuild off that. And this sort of change in mindset where you're like, oh, I'm not just building it for right now. I'm going to write this so that somebody else could take it and also use it for their work. And that's kind of this GitHub ethos. It's about this idea about sharing your work and thinking about other people using it or yourself in the future using it. All right. So there's a few other examples there. Okay. So as I said, kind of for everyone in the very beginning, you run up against frustrating things. And here's this nice little cartoon about getting, I'm sort of giving you a virtual GitHub hug here. If you are starting out and you run into that frustration, we have all been there. Everyone who starts out experiences that. In this case, the little, green thing is very sad because it thinks that Git has deleted their files. That's extremely hard to do, actually. You can kind of lose track of them, but you can't delete them. Well, you can, but it's hard to do. So in any case, this is very common in the beginning. It's frustrating. And then you get to the next stage, you kind of get it going and you're like doing great. And then you run into these situations where you get yourself all tied up in such a knot that you get these things called merge conflicts where it says, hey, no, you can't merge because it'll give you some weird kind of things of like your branches are out of sync and you're so stuck. And kind of everyone during this intermediate stage, they will go through this thing where they're like, I can't get unstuck. It's like, okay, fine. I'm going to delete my repository locally because the master is up on GitHub. You can always pull that in. It's called cloning. Think of it like copying, and you clone it back down. You might lose some work. Hopefully you were pushing things up to your master, right? That's kind of like syncing things. That's sort of like the master where you keep everything. Hopefully you're doing that. You don't lose too much work, but you might lose some. So that happens when you're an intermediate, but you will also get out of that stage. I haven't had to do that in ages. The only time I have to do it nowadays is when I'm helping people sometimes in hack weeks, and they have really gotten themselves in a knot. But you get through that stage. So if you get into that stage, don't worry. Again, that's kind of a common thing that happens in the learning process. So why push through it? I think that there was a stage, I don't know when it was for me, maybe 15 years ago. I went around and I talked with people who were better coders than I was, better at managing, big coding projects or big data science projects. And I said, what's the most important habit you think? And almost all of them said, first thing was version control. And Git is a form of it's called version control. We're going to practice that. It's basically you're tracking all your changes as you make them, and you're making notes on it, and creating this kind of history of your work. And they all said that was really important. And so even though it was really frustrating for me in the beginning, I did have to make several attempts. I persisted. And I think for me, the most really helpful thing I did is I finally sat down with a colleague of mine who I knew used Git and GitHub all the time. And I said, Eric, can I just sit next to you and watch you work? And he's like, sure. And because he said, oh, it's so easy. And I'm like, I kept running into trouble. And I just sat there. I think it was like 30 minutes. I sat there and I watched him work. And he was writing and then committing his changes during, I don't know how many times, maybe 10 times during that 30 minutes. And I watched what he did. And I was like, oh, wow. Wow, I was doing it wrong. I just had the wrong sequence of events. So I mentioned that because this is something for you in your learning journey, is to learn from other people and kind of watch them in their routine work, not as they are trying to help you if you've tied yourself in a knot, but watch them when they're just doing their day-to-day work and just see what the workflow looks like. It's actually a very simple kind of workflow. Okay, so let's first talk about your GitHub profile page. So this is what you would see if you go to mine. It's github.com EEHolmes, looks like that. So if you went to mine, you'd see this page. And you should think about your GitHub profile page as kind of like LinkedIn. It's a professional page. Especially for those of you who are younger, early career, and you're going to be applying for things, or you're trying to demonstrate your skills. If you are in data science, put a little bit of effort into this profile. Don't let it look too absolutely generic. At the very minimum, I'll show you how to update your profile image to something other than nothing. Okay, if you want to make it your dog, fine, but not nothing. And then having your name, and so people can see, hey, this is a real person. And for me, I use it constantly. You'll also see all the organizations I'm part of. All right, so let's jump on. We're going to jump onto GitHub, and I'm going to show you how to make some basic changes to your GitHub profile. So let's go here. So I'm going on to github.com. EEHolmes. Okay, great. All right. So if I go to mine, so you can go to yours. So first thing is if you roll over that and you click it, you can change your profile picture. It also, you can change your name. You don't need to make your email public. I do because this is like my work GitHub. I kind of have to have that for work. Put a little bit of info here, and then I have my website there. I think like what's kind of most important, I would say, is like a profile picture and then like something like your name. I find this like all the time when I'm going to people's profiles and I'm like, okay, they've got a bunch of consonants as their GitHub username. Who are they? And then obviously somebody could spoof you, but at least it's more likely that you're actually who you say you are if I see, yeah, they've got the picture and it matches the person who I think this is. I will say that for your professional GitHub site, like most people, I would say, have a username that is something related to their name. So like mine are my first two initials and my last name. I'm using this for work. It is professional. So I do have a separate one that is like for my personal stuff. So like I have a website that I host, for skiing. So I'm a ski instructor through that. And I have that on something different. Okay. Okay. So the second thing, if you look at let's see if I click here. Yeah. Okay. So you go here, you see that I have this little README. So if you want to spiff things up, you can add one of these also. And the way you do that is you're going to add a repository that is your username. So for me, that repository is named EEHolmes. And I create that. So let's go back here. So I could go to repositories and then I can say new repository like this. And then I would make the owner myself. And then I would do EEHolmes like that. It already exists, so it won't let me, but you would be doing something similar, but with your username. Once you do that, then let's go back here. Okay. Then in that, if you create a README, you can see it's a special one, and that is what appears on your profile. So if you see people with that kind of little box there, like I have, this is how we created it. So you can create one too. If you like the format of mine, you can go and look at that README. You would have to go to this repository, EEHolmes. I think you should be able to click that. Probably. Yeah, there you go. You can click that and you can look at it and you can take a look at the README. You won't be able to edit it, but you'll be able to go here and look at, like, you could look at the code here like that. And you could copy it and then edit it. So you can see a few of them out there and, people kind of spiff it up. Other people just have their name there and a little bit about them. It's kind of an extra thing some people like to do. All right. But like I said, think of it like kind of like LinkedIn. It's professional. All right. So let's talk about learning brand new skills. And if you already use Git a lot, and if this is all like stuff, I already know how to do this, then think of this about how you help your colleagues onboard to GitHub and Git. Because one of the most common things I hear from people who use it is, my colleagues don't know how, and how do I teach them? So think of this as, a tip for that. Okay, so I'm a long-term ski instructor over 30 years now. Started very young, and so I have a lot of experience of teaching people new skills. And when we teach people new skills in skiing, it's the same for other kinds of skills. We want to think about where the student is at the time, and base on what we are teaching them, and they are basing what they're trying to learn on where they are at the moment. So I think this little graph is like the most important thing about learning new skills. So it's this little graph. You need to think about how hard is the skill and your skill, or the learner's skill. And if you get over here, if you're feeling frustration and unhappiness, so things are just not working, you're over here in the not really learning things place. And what you need to do is figure out how to make things easier. So, like if you, and this is the same during this hack week with like the tutorials that we're showing. If like it feels like, I don't understand in this, I don't know what to do, then you need to move over to try to find an easier skill. So maybe it's like, I'm trying to learn this type of like plankton data out there, and I'm navigating their websites and I'm trying to understand it, and I can't make any sense of this. I'm confused. So, back up a little and say, okay, first step, I just need to find some websites and read up on this, or I need to talk to somebody who has used it before and just learn a little more. Maybe I need to get a really simple example of accessing this data. So doing that, right? But not hanging out in the frustration and unhappiness. You're working at too hard of a skill. Make it easier. You want to be in this region where the skill that you're trying to learn is sort of just hard enough that you're kind of able to do it, and so you're able to learn. And then as your skill goes up, you can tackle harder things. Okay, so how do we apply this to learning Git and GitHub? So first, we're going to work on learning a really basic skill, and we're just going to do this with GitHub. And we're going to learn how to edit a file and commit a change. Edit and commit. Okay, so here we go. What I want you to do is go to this. Oops, go back here. I'm going to go here. I will post this in there for you. Where's the chat? Come here. Okay. Okay. So I just posted the URL there. And what you're going to do is go there and you're going to add a file with your name. And that way it won't conflict with anyone else. So you do add, create new file. And so now I'm going to add Eli Holmes 2 because I did one in the morning. I'm going to do .md because I'm going to do markdown. You can do text, you can do pie, whatever you want. But markdown's great if you're going to write some text. So I'm going to do MD, and then I'm going to do a header. Oops. Hello world. Okay. So just write some things. And now I'm going to do commit. So I'm writing a little note about what I've done. And if you're working in the GitHub platform, it'll suggest a commit message. Sometimes it's good. Other times, you'll look, it's like, that's not really what that was about. In this case, yeah, I'm just creating the file, so I'll go with that. We're just going to commit directly to the main branch. We're not going to change anything here. Let's go do that. All right. So now it's your turn. Go ahead and add some files. I will watch. And as we sort of collect some, there we go. Yeah, we got Nick. Nick got one. Okay, Deborah, great. Want to get a few more before I go to the next step. Yes. Great, we got two more. Okay, let's get one more. Okay, perfect. We got two more. Okay, so the rest of you keep working along, and we're going to go to the next step of that. We're going to stay still in GitHub. So find your file that you just edited. You may have to scroll down. I'm going to have to scroll here. So this is the one I just added. And I'm going to click on it. And I'm going to go over to the edit here. I'm going to click edit. So now I'm going to add some stuff. And I'm going to show you a way that you can add images to markdowns. And you don't have to like upload the file. You can just copy and paste. So let's go here. I'm going to get do a walrus this time. And here, do that. I think I should be able to copy the image. And now I go back here, and do paste. And you see it uploads that for me. I can commit and say, now I'm going to change it, add a walrus image. There we go. And now we have a walrus. So I use this all the time, not so much to add walruses, but if I am like I'll show you an example where we create like image issues that we are chatting about. So I can take a picture of something. Let's see if it works this time. Kind of what I want to talk about, and then here. Wait, why? There is something about. Let's see if I get it to work this time. My it's not allowing me to copy to the. Okay. Save to clipboard. Okay. Hopefully that worked that time. Okay. So now I can paste that in. There we go. Commit changes. So I can preview, see what it just did. And now you see it did that. So I use this all the time if like I'm trying to like show somebody, hey, this is what I'm seeing in this error. And sometimes like a picture, is 1,000 words and that makes it easier. Or I just pay, maybe I'm making a README and I want to show like added just an image that I've grabbed off a website or a page or something. So I think that's one of my most favorite things. I'll also show you, let's go back away. If you want to include code, you can do tick, 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 and do add some code. And now you can see it shows up like that. So that can be nice and especially helpful if you want someone to be able to copy it. All right. Okay, so let's head over here and let's see what people have been up to. So super nice feature with GitHub is you can look at the history and you can watch what your team is doing on the repository. It's right here. It's this little time thing and you can have the commits. So, all right. So I've updated I'm gonna wait for a sec, see, get some more updates. Oh, we've got added image. Okay. Changed extension and added more text. Update and rename. Okay, excellent. Okay, so I see you guys are being able to edit things. Excellent. So let's say we've done a bunch of work, and let's imagine that these were, say, Python scripts, and we had a bunch, and we're like, oh, I changed something, or I deleted that file, or I changed that file, and I need to go see what it was like before because I cannot remember everything that I did. Um, and what you can do is you can go back in time. Let's say here. So we've got lots and lots of files here. And let's say I wanted to see, so I go back in time and I'm like, oh, that's right. It was right when Alfredo put that file in. That's about when that change happened. I can click on here and I can go back in time. It's like a time machine. What did you just click? What happened here? No, sorry. That time machine. Oops, sorry. Where was I? Here. That did not work. Okay, let's try again. I am trying to click that right there. Hey, why are you not working? Something. There we go. Yeah, something about my mouse was not quite on it. So if I successfully click in the right place, it now goes to the repository at that point in time, and you can see. Well, let's go even further because still we have a ton of files in here. So I can go really far back. So let's go see when James put that in. So this was like the second one. And now you can see it just had two files. I find this actually, it's very helpful. It's one of the things I use a lot. Like I might want to see, oh, wait, what did that README look like way back when before we made all those changes? All right. Okay. Any questions before we move on to the Jupyter Hub? Oh, wait. Yes. Oh, no, we're not going to quite. We're going to talk about issues, but I'm going to pause here to see if there's any questions. You can unmute or raise your hand. All right. Okay, you're good. Okay, so let's practice the using the issues. So each repo will have this thing up here with issues. And here you can put in some tasks that you want to work on. And so a real common way that teams will use this in a hack week is they will, click new issue, and then they'll have a kind of a series of tasks. So let's get the data for Gulf of Maine. Okay, so that's what the task is. And then we go over here and we can say what those, so I click that and I get these things. And so we need to reach out to John about, file formats, write the download code, and, create a plot of data with dots or something. Okay, so it's a series of tasks that we're doing. Sometimes, it'll be helpful to say, who is going to do that. So I'm doing that, and it's Ryan's job to do that task. So you can do @ to remind people, who is doing what. and then you create. So that's a pretty lightweight way. And a real nice thing with issues is that you can have a history of the discussion around it. So adding comments onto that. All right, so let's pause for a moment and I'll give you guys a chance to add a few of your own issues just so you get to see what it is like. And after you do that, go ahead and open some of the recent issues and add some comments. So not the ones from the East, but we'll add comments on each other's as some issues come in. So, I can tag Ryan. He may get an email if I tag him like this.
I'll let you know if I do.
Yeah. And then I'm gonna put this in here. Comment that.
I did indeed. Got there quick.
Got there quick. Oh, wait, why did it not work? Why did it not Oh, failed to upload. Why did you fail to upload? Okay, that was weird.
I think it was the first one. Write the download code. That one I
Oh,
got.
okay. Update comment. Okay, great. So I can add a pointless little thing here, but yeah. All right, so let's check it out, see if we got some more issues going here. All right, don't be shy. Go ahead, just throw one in there. Get the thesis done. Yeah, we all can relate to that. Watch. Okay, so let's get some data. So, okay, right. Yep. Pull code. Try this code. Um, here. Gives a suggestion for how to solve that. All righty. Great. Okay. Super. So the issues are like really lightweight. All the repositories will have them. I'll note, however, that another lightweight way to do the task works fine for hack weeks also, and that is to add them to your README. And I'm going to show you an example of a team from the Pace Hack Week, how they were doing this. That is not where I want to be. It gives kind of a good example. Pace SDM. Okay. So this was a team and so came up with this little like thing here. A little diagram of what the basic approach was going to be. And making this and settling on this really helped the team focus on each step. So they were like, oh, okay, I feel overwhelmed, but what we're doing today is we're doing observation data. So we're getting that. And then so they could focus on that and complete that. And then after they were done, they could work on the matchups and get some help and able to get that matchup. And then, and then they're like, oh, okay, this is what we need to do next. So they kind of could work through things. So that's an example of how they set up their task. It's not like a bullet list, but it's the same basic idea. Um, and then they kind of added some more documentation. Oh, that was kind of interesting. And another, let's see, I think we have a good one from Ocean Hack Week also. Yeah, Ocean Hack Week 2025 projects. Projects that formed this week, Blueberry. Yeah, okay, so the fishy pace. This John Peak is a member of the Hack Week here. And so here you see they've laid out their goals. And they didn't have a lot of time. They had just as much time as you do. Just very quickly, okay, this is what we're going to do. It's what we think we can accomplish. Here's the data sets. And then they wrote out what their roadmap was. This is you can see it's written in the past tense. So they went back and kind of edited this for their record of what they did. They had something a little kind of rougher when they started, but they did like break them out into tasks, data collection, assimilation, data preparation, and then model training. So they did do a bit of extra work, like lots of stuff. They also like get their results and finding. So like this is on kind of like not usually teams are this detailed, but as I said, the key thing is like putting in there, hey, this is what we're going to do, and these are the tasks we're going to be focusing on. All right. So either you can do issues or, like I said, the README is also a great place to do that. I actually kind of like for a hack week having it in the README because it's helpful for teams in the future to go back and see what that other team's tasks were. It can help it's sort of helping the future people in the future who are doing projects. All right. So let's go now to the Jupyter Hub. And we're going to practice doing the edit and commit from the Jupyter Hub. So first thing that we need to do is we will need to set up Git and GitHub. Here is the link. We're going to walk through this together. Okay. Start up the Jupyter Hub. So you want to get to this page right here. And I am going to wait until I see some thumbs up to make sure I have at least some of you along with me. So thumbs up when you're on this page that I'm showing right here. You're onto the hub and you've made it onto the launcher. We've got Nick. Thank you. Okay, we've got Deborah. Lindsay, yay. Okay, we've got a few going here. Anyone else? Okay, Leandro, excellent. Thank you. Okay, so I'm seeing a bunch of thumbs up. So once you're on the launcher, click this to start a terminal window. Now we can issue commands. On here, setting up Git, shows you there opening a terminal. That's where we're at. The first thing you have to do, and you only have to do this once. This is not something you do every time. You just do this once. You need to issue these commands at the terminal. Ignore the $sign. That's not part of it. It starts with Git. You can copy that. And I'm going to do it even though I've already done it, so I don't have to do it again, but there's no harm in me doing it again. I'm not gonna break anything. So you do that, and then um even though it says username, it's not your GitHub username. It's like a name. Oh, like that. Do that. And we got to do all 3 lines. So I'm going to go back, get the next one, and tell it an email. Use your GitHub email. If you mess up, you hey, what is that? Ugh. If you mess well, let's see what happens. I don't know what that is. I accidentally hit return. Oh, where am I? Okay. I did Control C. Okay. So let's try again here. See if I can not fumble this. Okay. Set that. Do that. I'm going to give my email here. There we go. And then the last one is this one here, is telling it how you merge things. And if you don't do this, it'll just complain endlessly. So I'm going to go ahead and do that. All right, there we go. Let's see thumbs up when you have those 3 steps done. Okay. Yeah, just show me a thumbs up when you get that done. If you are getting stuck, or um if you need some help, just raise your hand. We have lots of people who can go into a breakout room with you, and you can screen share, and we can get you unstuck. Okay. All right. So just show me the thumbs up when you get those three lines done. Or unmute if you are stuck. Okay, so I haven't seen any thumbs up yet. That suggests to me that you guys are stuck. How about somebody unmute and tell me where you're at? Oh, actually, I see 2. I see a couple. Anyone? Okay, now I see at least 1. Maybe it was user error on my part. Okay, I see now I'm starting to see a few. Okay. All right. Okay, if you are stuck, please throw your just say you need help in the chat so we can get you into a breakout room. I'm going to start moving forward. Okay, so we're here, and the first thing that we're going to do is we're going to clone that learn Git repository into the GitHub. So head over here, and we want to make sure up here it shows a folder and a slash, and there's no text here. If there's text there, like if I were here, you see there's text there. I want to click that and Git so there's no text there. This is where I want to be. And then I'm going to click on that, and I will see this, and it says clone repository. And I'm going to throw in the URL of this one. Again, this is the URL that you're going to put in there. So you're going to click clone repository and paste that URL there. If you have like tree main in the repository name, so like if you got to that URL a different place, just get rid of that part. So it's just the org name and then the repo name. And then I go ahead and I clone. There we go. And I have like a million and one things here, but if I go down, should be easier for you. You can see I have learned Git, and wow, there are all the files. Okay, so same thing. Give me a thumbs up when you have gotten to that place. You've been able to clone. Okay, we've got 2. Yay. 4. Okay. Excellent. 5, 6. Super. Okay. Great. Excellent. Okay. You guys are moving along there. Okay. So if you are here, you've managed to clone, and then you opened up the Learn Git, you'll see these. And what I want you to do is go in and double click on your file. So find your file, double click on it, and then add something. And then I'm going to save. How can I save? Well, I'm just going to do Command S, but I think you could do like file, save markdown. You could do that too. Okay. So I've added some text and I've saved it. Now, what I want to do is I want to commit that change. So I want to put it in my history that I've made this change. I go over here, and this tells me what has changed. Okay. Ignore anything that says checkpoint. We'll just ignore that. So we look here, and this says changed. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to roll over and click this little plus. Plus. So I'm saying, hey, I want to put a little note about the change that I did. So I stage it, getting it ready, and now I can write my little note. So I updated from the hub, and I commit. There we go. So go ahead, and what I want you to do is don't try to push yet. Just go ahead and make some changes. I won't be able to see your changes. None of us will until we push up to GitHub and then pull the changes back in. But I want you to just do this locally first so you can follow along with this next step of pushing. So once you get an edit and you save it, go ahead again, put those thumbs up in there. Excellent, excellent. See a couple there, see 3. Thank you, perfect. Got a few more. Okay, Deborah, excellent. Lindsay, super. All right. Okay, at least I've got a few of you along there. Okay, so now what we want to do is push to it. The problem is that we first need to authenticate to GitHub. We need to tell it who we are and give it a password so it knows we have permission to be pushing up to GitHub. And we talk about this back in this setting up Git, the page I sent you. It says authenticating. We talk about using GitHub scoped creeds. This is what we're going to use on our Jupyter Hub. If you've used Git before and you've used like a personal access token, uh, we discourage the use of that on our GitHub, our Jupyter Hub. Just makes it a little safer. This is going to be just a short um, uh, sort of authentication. It's going to last 8 hours and it won't be able to push to just anything. So if, heaven forbid, somebody got your token, they wouldn't have like be able to go through anything like all your stuff on GitHub at all. So this is very limited in what it can do. It's not like GitHub or Jupyter Hubs are unsafe, but this gives us an extra layer of safety, especially because we are using, like I'm using GitHub for my work stuff. I want to be extra safe with it. So we're using this thing called GH scoped creeds. Here's how we use it. So I'm back here. I go back to the terminal and I say GH hyphen scoped creeds. And this is actually a link here. Even though it doesn't look like that, we're going to copy this right here, copy, go to that, and continue with me. I paste it in, do that, say continue if you get this one, and then go down here, authorize. That's it. You should be set. Shouldn't have to do anything else. You're set for at least for pushing up to FishPace organization. Okay. So let's again, let's see some thumbs up when you've authenticated. Excellent. Thank you. Thank you, Nick. All right. Thank you, Carl. Excellent. Okay, we've got a few more. Shulhan, thank you. Yes, Deborah. Okay, great. So now we've authenticated. If I restarted the server, I would have to authenticate again. But if I don't have to restart the server, this is going to be good for 8 hours. You'll be doing this so often, you'll just get really fast at this. Okay. So now that I've authenticated, I can push my changes up. But before we do that, we have to pull any changes in that are up there. So you can see these little clouds. This is for pulling changes from GitHub or pushing changes. So first we're going to have to pull. And then right after that, we can push. There we go. So why don't you guys give that a try? Pull the changes and then push. File new. Okay, I can see you've getting your changes in there. I can go ahead and pull those down. Yay. There we go. I'm just this .git ignore file that I'm putting in here is you can put that in your repositories or you can add things to it if you want to ignore certain things, like you might like certain type of data files. In this case, I'm ignoring checkpoints. You don't see it right now. If you go in view, you can say show hidden, and then I'm going to be able to see that right here. You can open it. So you can edit, put things there. All right. So I'm going to go ahead and add that. There we go. Ignore checkpoint. And there we go. So before I push, I noticed there are some more changes. So I'm going to go ahead and pull those in and then push mine up. There we go. All right. So now because I've been pulling things in, I can click on history and I can see what others have been doing. So I can see you guys have been deleting things, editing things, adding things. All right. That's great. You managed to edit and commit and push. Fantastic. All right. Any questions about this part? Okay, we are almost done here. Almost to your work time. Okay. When we go into work time, again, if you're stuck on any of this, we'll hop you into a breakout room so you can get set up. So now what we're going to do is we're going to talk about getting your project repository set up. And let's go over, I'm going to go sort of clean this up a little bit. Okay. So I am here. Let's see. Can I see a raise of hands of any project leads that don't have their project repo yet? I see Nick here. I see Nick. I think Dale, Deborah, Mateus's group, they have their repo. Anyone else? I'm not seeing any raising hands. Okay. Because I don't want to do the repo creation part if I don't need to. I don't want to, I'll kind of show you where it is, but if I don't need to walk through the whole thing, I won't. Okay. Okay, good. Looks like I don't need to. Okay. So what I'm going to do is I'll show you what you do if somebody didn't speak up, but then we'll jump to the next step. When you're creating a repo for a project for the Hackweek, you use our template. You go into templates, use this, click on that, and you use this button here. Use this template. Oops. All right. Create new repository. And then you would choose fish paste because we're doing it for ours. And then you would do 2026 proj, name. Yep. And then at the bottom, it'll say create. So that's what you would do. But since you guys already have yours, we're going to go jump to the next step. Once you have your repository, let's see, which is one from the West? See if you guys put West on there. Okay, we have Project Kelp West. Let's check this out. Maybe you guys are already set up here. Okay, so this team has their template here. So they've got that. And so first thing that this team needs to do is make sure all their collaborators, all the teammates are on it. When you go to the repository, you go to settings here. You go to collaborators and teams here. Oh, this has for my phone. Okay. Yeah, use GitHub Mobile. So there we have it. Okay. So we have Tina. All right. So let's see. Um, why don't let's see is she on the call here? Yes, you're on the call. Great. So can you unmute and tell me some of your other teammates on this project?
Yeah, I know I have Annie on this project and maybe Christina as well.
Okay. All right. Let's do Christina. So Christina, do you want to put your GitHub username into the chat? If you're there. Or Annie, did you say Annie is on there? Annie, if you are in this team, can you put yours into the chat? Okay, great. Annie, excellent. Thank you. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead. Oh, and I've got Krista here too. Okay, great. I'll put both of you. So I'm going to copy Annie's here, and now I'm here, and I'm going to add people and put that there. Annie is already in this GitHub org. So everyone you're adding should already be there, so you should be able to see them. And now I tend to give all the collaborators maintain so like everyone can work together. Um, at the minimum, everyone needs write, but unless you have a reason not to give them the right to do things like add more people, I would say use maintain. Kind of only one person really needs to be admin. Then we add that selection. All right. So now Annie is also going to be able to push to this repository. And now let's do Krista here. So add people. Hey, where did that go? There we go. Okay. So like there's a whole bunch of them, but you can see these people are all, they're not part of our org. We know that Krista's there. She's already a part of it. Do maintain. And now we're good. Okay, so we've got 3 people. If you need to add more later, you can. But now at least all these teammates will be able to clone this repository into the GitHub, and they will able to start adding things. So if you notice the repositories, they have this structure here where we've got contributor folders. So as you are working, as I said, it's important as you're working to just keep putting what you're working on up so your teammates can see it and learn from you. But also you don't want to be working on the same file and conflicting. So the way that we help you not conflict with each other is we ask you to do your work in the contributor folders, and you're going to either create a new folder or rename one of these, and then you'll add your material here. And that way, each of you has your own folder, and you're never going to be editing the same file. Once you get towards the end and you're like, okay, now we're ready to work on the final notebook. So we're, recording everything. Then what I suggest is you use this final notebook to assemble things and communicate with each other. So that's kind of the easiest thing, is to say, hey, everyone, I'm going to be working on the final project notebook for data munging, data processing. Everyone, I'm in there. I'm going to let you know when I'm done, and I push the results up. So you either do something like that, or you say, okay, Annie is going to work on the one that's the final one for how we process the data. She's responsible for that. Tina is going to work on the one that is showing how we are doing our modeling. And so you separate the roles like that. But just communicating with each other, doing it over Slack or during the work time, just do that. It's kind of low tech, but honestly, it works as well as anything I've found. Even when I'm working, on really big projects, if we have to go into something, part of the repository where we all are editing things, we'll give a heads up. Hey, I'm in the repo. Hold off, don't edit things. I'm doing a bunch of changes. I'll let you know when I'm done. Boom. So like if I'm editing a website, say. Okay. So that's when you're editing things, to put it in that contributor folder. You can put data there. You can push data up to GitHub as long as it's not anything absolutely massive. Edit your README. So all of you who are been added can edit this file. And yeah, say a little bit about what the project is, who the participants are, and do a little planning there. All right. Phew. Okay. I know that's a lot of information, but we are now done. Okay, I am going to stop that recording.